The next topic that I'm really looking forward to talking about, particularly since we have Mr. Automobile with us, is cars, roads, and public transportation. So Happy, we'll start with you on cars.
Okay, which car you want? Well, helping myself to Uncle Otto, who in New Lenox, who had a gas station, that started me out in automobiles. There you get $1 a day and a hamburger from Rube Tart's Tavern, and that started out. That was my first wages. Then I started later on. Dorothy's brother worked for Cadillac in Chicago, and he says, let's do a little body work, and so that started Happy's Body Shop in Tinley Park. 1962, Chevrolet dealers here at Glenn and Stanley Moaning got me over here to run a body shop in this new body shop, which was remodeled by Bill Breitert. The paint shop is still here behind that door. And that was really a nice push to me in my life. Later on, they come back to see me one day, too many people. Wanted to try sales. So I talked to my wife, and I tried sales for 3 months. After 3 months, they were a couple $1,000s ahead of me, so I stayed with sales. And I've done real well in sales. I did work till I was 90 at Phillips, then after Dorothy got worse, I had to take care of my wife on the 724, which I would do again if I had to. But automobiles then has been really my life. One of the things, it was 1955, the Frankfort Centennial. I was over here with my first tow truck that I had built over in Tinley Park, and I've been in every parade in Frankfort since. And thank you, Ralph, you made the picture in a kind of a blue tint. That's my favorite float of all the floats that I made since 1958. I've done 138 for Phillips Chevrolet. And automobiles has really been it, and I just got to say what more can you say?
Wasn't the Mager name attached to automobiles too?
Yes. Mager and Heisner. They had the dealership right here in the.
Hold on just a minute, I'll refresh you on
That way. That's right.
Inheritance Hall, right? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I have pictures that I got from here with the help of other things. The original Chevrolet dealership was by Arthur Bauch down I showed the people yesterday, Dale Riles and Al, what's his name? Freer. Yeah. And there was a little deal for your pocket here, and Art Bauch's picture on it, and it says Bauch, Chevrolet, Essex, and Terraplane.
Yep, that's right.
And then the Chevrolet Heisner Margaret was over on Elwood Street, up where Klepper had the cabinet shop later on, and whoever owned that blacksmith shop there at the time shows in the Willys Overland in there, and Heisner and Margaret people in that shop. After the big horse fire here, and this building burnt, then the Focus brothers built that building and made a deal with Heisner and Margaret to come on over, and they got the Chevrolet agency up here, and Art Bauch took on the Ford agency.
Right.
I've got that all in papers and presented it.
Didn't they repair cars in this building on the second floor?
There was
a big
rope elevator in there. You have to ask Warwick Chinkowski, that was his job, running that rope. They fixed the farm all tractors and stuff upstairs, and the cars were downstairs. Yeah.
My dad always lamented the fact he worked in that Heisner and Mager thing, but his job basically as a young kid was to take cars apart for parts and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And he said,
Now, here's something you guys don't know.
if he would have, no, his comment was, if he had known at that time, instead of taking them apart, he'd have put them in a barn somewhere.
Oh, how about it?
By now, they'd be worth a fortune.
Right.
We all remember Orville Stankowski. Orville worked there at the Heistermacher garage, right?
Chink.
Chink.
Chink, that's right.
All right, every day at noontime, Chink used to go across the street and push the button for that siren on the water tower to signal everybody in town it was 12 o'clock noon.
Right.
I didn't know Chink did that.
Now, I happened to ask Chink one time, how did you know when it was 12 o'clock? He said, in the parts department there in the dealership, there's a clock on the wall. And he said, I used to check my watch with that. And then I'd go across the street and I'd wait till 12 o'clock and push the button for the siren. I said, Chink, how did they set the clock on the wall up there? I don't know. I said, Chink, it was the guy in the parts department would set it according to the siren.
That's great.
That's a good one.
Round robin.
You know, I never
We had a
knew
good
that.
time. We didn't say we were that bright, you know.
All my lifetime, I thought that siren deal was Poff's job, Walter Poff.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Well, it probably started out being
The
his job, right?
curfew was at 9:30.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the siren went off for curfew.
Yes, it
Yeah.
did.
Yep. Better
Yes.
be home by that time.
10:30 on weekends.
Well, I have an interesting story
You
about
never went home.
about the upstairs of Heritage Hall. When they first started Winter on the Green, one Sunday was always chili cook-off, and that was usually the biggest turnout of all. Well, one particular Sunday it was going to be below zero, so they said we got to move this inside. And I think at that time, did the village own Heritage Hall? So the village opened up the second floor of Heritage Hall for us, and we took the crowds up there. And I was up there, and one man said to me, "I don't feel safe up here. There's so many people. Are these floors?" I said, "They used to repair automobiles up here. I don't think they're going to collapse. These floors are going to collapse from a few people, right?"
It's true.
Yeah.
Right.
That upstairs for automobiles was for storage also. And when the war started, there was some blackout Chevrolet set up there for the doctors, for Dr. Hedges and Dr. Hirschigge and so on and so forth.
Buckley?
They were sitting up there, about 3 or 4 of them, blackout models, no chrome on them.
Oh, okay. And what would be their year? What would be the year of
Well,
manufacture?
there were 42s.
Okay.
42s were being made already.
You know what was a big deal back then too was the day the new cars came out.
Yes.
Right.
There was only a day or a week that all new cars were introduced.
And we
It was
would,
almost a holiday. I mean,
we would see them going down Route 30. They were all covered
Covered.
up. And the car haulers, there was only 4. That's all they had in the car hauler. And they were all covered up until that day when the
it had to be
showing.
like Saturday is when the new Chevys are going to be. Oh,
Wow.
we all come up here to see. I remember
That was something.
they had the '53 Corvette was the first one.
Yes,
I
it
think
was
the
the
old
first
white
one.
one.
Yep.
And I think George Sangmeister was here. And I mean, it was like a holiday. Now they just, I don't know when they come out.
The new ones are out already.
Yeah, 2 years in advance. I don't know.
Who remembers the license plates from 1942?
I do.
They were
They were-
cardboard.
Yeah.
The farmers, when farmers had them, if they had goats,
Goats that eat 'em.
the goats would eat them plates. I got a few at home that I
Yep.
collected, yeah.
Well, somebody said that they thought there might have been a soybean product
They're soybean
Is that
plates.
right?
in
Yeah.
the making of those
Oh, is that
cardboard
right? Yeah, they're
plates,
soybean
and that's why
plates.
the goats were so attracted to them. I think. I think 43. I think 43.
Yes. It was during the war, you know.
Because unlike all you guys who opted out for your birth year, I was born in 43, so I collected a couple plates, and there's still that card license plates. There's still.
I have, yeah, I have a
cardboard.
1940. I was born in 40. I have a 1940 license plate. Right
You
off
know,
my,
it's
it was
really-
right off my car that year. I took it right off of it.
It's really a pleasure to sit here with you kids.
Yeah, how's it feel?
Well,
Yeah.
I was 94 a week ago Sunday, and we had 5 celebrations. I'm finally done.
You don't look a day over 90. I'll tell you that. You know.
You're a pleasure, you know that.
learned how to drive on a farmall tractor up and down my driveway over here on Nebraska Street. My grandfather had passed away, and we ended up with a tractor for some reason, and that was his. And we kept it. My dad brought it and put it in the driveway over here on Nebraska. And I was just getting the hots to drive, but I didn't know squat about it. So I learned how to drive by going back and forth on the driveway on Nebraska Street in this farmall tractor. Never got very far. It was about 75 feet. But
When did driver's licenses become mandatory?
What
you
year?
might know
This
that.
guy was 16.
When did you have to get
I drove
driving?
on the highway when I was 14
Without a license, right?
without license, yes.
Well, this panel mentioned Orville Chinkowski, Chink, and he told me a story. He was at that grammar school that you all went to, and they were going to have like a graduation party or something. So the principal gave him the keys to the car and said, "Go to Joliet and pick up all the party favors and everything." And I said to Chink, "Did you have a license?" "Oh no, you didn't need a license back then." And one time I was talking to Mayor Warning, and I said, "Can you believe that?" He says, "I can believe it real well. I rode with him."
My first car, it was a new car. I got out of high school and I had a job. I got a few dollars. So I went to Bauk and I got a brand new 55 Ford convertible. That's a real chick wagon, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
55.
yeah, that was from
That's
Art Bauk.
impressive.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
And I also, well, I still have an old car, you know. I got that 36 Ford Roadster. That's my baby, man. That's.
Ouch.
I had a Model A coupe with a rumble seat. This one's the one I have now has a rumble seat, and I just like cars.
You've entered those Fords in several shows, correct?
Yes, I have.
And I'm sure you've won some, right? In your class?
Yeah, I have. Yes.
Yeah, because I've seen them personally. They are beautiful automobiles, and I know you take care of them.
Thank you.
Ralph, any cars for you?
Speaking of cars, didn't Ralph show by that dealership from Art Bauk?
Yes.
Because it was
Yeah.
probably the fall of '55 when the 1956 Fords were coming out. Another fellow and I in town here got a job that fall prepping the cars. As they came off the trailers, they were covered with some kind of a wax or something. And I remember we used to have to wash the cars down, clean them up and everything. And then we got to put the sticker on the back of the car that said Cooper Show Ford, Frankfort.
I'll be there. Cool.
Didn't they also sell Alice Chalmers tractors there?
Yes,
My
yeah,
dad,
Chalmers
my
tractors.
dad, my dad bought a brand new one from there, Ellis
There was-
Chalmers.
There was 3 tractor sales in Frankfurt. Warnings had the Oliver, Hart Par.
Hard par before Oliver.
And what else?
Well, they had a kind of equipment.
Dodge and Plymouth.
Well, he was the sub-dealer to Joliet. Remember when Art Bauk bought that 41 Plymouth. That was a brother-in-law to old Ray Warning. What a beautiful car. But it come from Joliet. Just like this dealership had a dealership in Mokina at one time. Mokina Auto Sales, I got pictures of it. And it lasted maybe 5-8 years. George Heisner, a cousin to the bunch in here, operated at that time, and another fellow by the name of George Kohler. So,
I think the
there were
museum-
sub-dealers.
I think our museum has pictures of brand new Fords right alongside of brand new Alice Chalmers down here on the
I
corner.
wouldn't doubt it.
They were both of
Probably,
them
'cause
being
they're-
displayed.
He sold both, you know. Like I say, my father bought a brand new Ellis Chalmers tractor there, and I bought a brand new Ford there. So yeah, and that was Art Bauk. That was Art Bauk.
And then,
Bauk's lived right next door to their dealership. That's where
They did,
they
that
lived.
house that's there
That
now.
brick home,
That's
yeah.
where they lived.
They lived upstairs. Up the main doors going in upstairs, and there was a steps going up that way.
And then-
Margie and I went to school together, and then
Who did they sell to? Who did the Bauks sell to?
here you go. Show this to that gentleman down there. There's your Oliver with Dodge cars.
Yeah, there it is. I got a bunch of these at home.
Yeah. On the
Okay,
left-hand
well,
side
I
on top,
give
you
you
see
one.
Dodge in there.
Well, who's Cooper and Show? Were they-
Cooper Show was Ralph Show, SJO was the right name, and the Cooper was Merle Cooper. The money man was Tom Cooper, a man behind it. He was a maintenance man in the Mr. Fix-It up in the Orland Park area. Ralph Show married Tom Cooper's daughter. Lilas was her name.
Didn't you work for them?
I worked there for 8 years.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we had a little wrong discussion here at Warnings, and we went down to the Cooper Show. But
Bringing up touchy subjects.
I guess he is.
I enjoyed
He
my
wants me to
days.
go home, take him home.
Yeah, right.
I enjoyed my
Yeah,
days
he's your
at
ride. He's your ride.
Yeah, be careful.
Yeah, behave.